Hey, what's up, awesome people? This is your boy Randy G coming to you with some different ideas on Mind the Mind. I'm super excited about today's episode where we talk about ideas, tips, strategies to inspire and provoke you to take your dreams into your reality. We've got an amazing guest today, and I'm super excited and thrilled that you get the opportunity to share some of these moments because I've known this gentleman for about 20 years, I believe. But none other than my good friend from San Francisco Bay Area, California, Mr. Martin Lee. Martin, welcome to Mind the Mind, brother.
Randy, thanks for having me, man. It's an absolute honor to be here, and I really appreciate you for having me on board, brother.
Yeah,
how you doing?
Dude, I'm loving life and living it at full throttle. That's how we do it. So yeah, brother.
Awesome.
So Martin, let's kind of dive right into this. So let me give the audience a little background about yourself. You see, Martin in 2009 became an EMS and then worked his way after struggling, failing. Everyone was telling him no because he really wanted to get in part of the fire department, and just through trial and error, and you know the old saying, you get knocked down 7 times, but if you get up that 8th time, that can make a big difference. Martin got onto the fire department, but through his time with the fire department, he encountered many things, and that's why I have a huge respect for not only the fire department, law enforcement as well too, but Martin saw some things that not the average person sees on a daily basis. We're talking about death, stabbing, shotgun wounds. I mean, just craziness. So through it all, he even got freaked out, I guess, because some of his peers said, man, this, since you're a newbie, this happens quite often. So what he did, he took that fear and turned it into passion. Since that moment, he started what was called the, it's a tactics, right? It's a tactics instructor, certified instructor, that really gives people an edge up in case they enter danger. So we're going to get to that and that good stuff real soon. So let's go into freaking rock and roll, brother. So let's talk about when we first met. I remember my little Asian brother, 19 years old, wanting to eat rice. I'm like, what about tortillas? And he's like, let's eat rice and let's eat tortillas. No, so I said, why don't we put the rice in the tortillas? And we had a happy ending, right? Like, woohoo, we got it to work, brother. So yeah, man. So we're going to have some fun, guys. Again, Martin's a great friend of mine. He's like my brother. He's like a son. He's like, he's a great man. And I seen him going from where he was when he was 19, which was really a shy, young, held-back individual, to being the brave, in-your-face kind of guy today that really supports people and always acts for a positive change. So tell me, what was it like, man, before I even met you? What was it like in San Francisco?
So I graduated high school, and I wasn't the smartest individual. I didn't really get good grades, and I had a learning disability, but we're not going to talk about that because that's the past. So when I graduated high school, I ended up moving to Stockton. That's where I met you. Yeah. And started going to college at Delta College, and I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Our 209 people. No.
So I had no idea what I wanted to become. I didn't know where I was going in life. I was just going to, just go to college and just get my general education and figure out from there where I wanted to go. And then, lo and behold, an individual named Michael Mueller, which was on your Mind the Mind, I think on your last episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
He actually approached me and asked me if I wanted a job, and I didn't have a job at that time. And he got down my name and number, and he hit me up, and that's when I finally came to an interview and met you, Randy Gonzalez. and
go ahead.
When I first met you, you had this charisma, you had this passion, you wanted to help people, and you wanted to change people's lives. And it wasn't like you didn't have any one-liners. It was like the way that you spoke had a lot of passion, and I needed that because I was completely lost and had no direction as a 19-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when I finally got on board to work with you, and it was a network marketing type of business, but I learned so much from you for I think it was about two and a half, maybe 3 years that we were together.
Yeah.
I was able to build a massive team on my own in San Francisco, and who knows what would have happened if that company didn't file for bankruptcy and kept going.
Yeah.
Like, I'd probably be a millionaire, honestly, with the way that you've taught me, and you'd probably be a billionaire. I don't know,
Yeah, no doubt.
So when I came to you, I was that shy individual, and you knew that about me. And it was very hard for me to break outside my comfort zone, and you taught me how to do that. And what I learned for those 3 years was learning how to be that people person, what people see me as today. And I always tell people, like, hey man, if you knew me before high school, I was not the man who I am today. And I learned a lot from you, and I still take those teachings and try to inspire others.
That's awesome, brother. That's awesome. I'm super proud of you. And one thing you
Thank you,
mentioned
brother.
too about, getting out of your comfort zone, and I used to teach this, to thousands of people, is that your comfort zone equals your income zone as well too. So when people's, they're struggling or they're doing certain things, it's probably because maybe it's a self-esteem, self-confidence issue. But when you get outside everything you want, which is this area outside your comfort zone, that's when the miracles happen. That's when you start to have doors that open up. How we connected, I remember that day vividly. It's because I was teaching Mike at the time how to basically, courage in our era is called cojones. I told Mike, get some cojones. Come on, let's do this, dude. I got your back. And he goes, okay. So he said, you're going to come with me, right? So I said, yes, I'm going to come with you. What I did with Mike is I dropped him off and I left. Courage under fire. But at the same time, as a result of it, because of that moment, because of the ability for him to get out of his comfort zone, because he was teachable, because he was coachable, I've built a long lifetime friendship with you that's already expanded 20 years. So that's the amazing joy that you can really, attract in your life when you're willing to, and you're open to, and you're vulnerable enough to get out of your comfort zone. Because really, all your joy, all your dream, all your passion is just on the outside realm of that comfort zone. Everything that you desire in this lifetime. So it's exciting to hear that you got out of your comfort zone. But I was thinking back, dang, I had to get Mike to get out of his comfort zone to get there. So that's awesome how it just reciprocates and has a domino effect. So let's get more. So what were some things that you can remember that we went over? Because I've worked with thousands of people, but I remember you specifically because you had a desire so much that I even said, hey, if you want to succeed, I'll teach you. And you were 19, and I was only a few years older than you. I was in my early 20s too. And I said, but it's going to be amazing. And I remember I said, listen, if you leave San Francisco and come stay with me for a few months, actually, we'll be able to train your brain. And that's what we did. I know we went through exercises, we went through just certain routines, certain things to really build your self-confidence and self-esteem. And you were a huge part of the team back then. So yeah, what was a couple of things you remember that I'm sure that you teach your students today that can help our audience break that shell?
So what I remember were our breakthrough events and all the lessons that you taught me. But and specifically is that during the weekdays we'd be working and grinding and doing what we needed to do to build our team. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the week, the whole team would get together and you would basically have like a movie night. You had a huge projector. You shoot up on the wall and we would just watch random movies. What I thought were random, but they were great movies. So some of the movies I remember were The Karate Kid, Boiler Room, and my all-time favorite movie was Men of Honor. Yeah. And, those movies, just watching it inspired me and, the lessons that it taught within the movie. Then after it was over, you'd be like, hey guys, there's a learning lesson in all this. And you'd break it down and basically extract all the key points from that movie to inspire us to continue to build our team. Mm-hmm. And those lessons taught back then, it still is instilled into me. And I try to take those teachings and inspire others. Mm-hmm. And when people ask me like, hey, what's your favorite movie, or what movie do you recommend, I tell them those movies. I tell them more like, hey dude, there's a message behind these films. Mm-hmm. And if you actually look deep into it, and also Rudy, by the way, that was a very good one.
My boy Rudy, yeah.
And every time I watch those movies, those titles, when I'm done, it's like, hey man, I want to go run a mile. I want to go. And it's not because of, the films are motivational, but then it just triggers those memories that I had with you, mm-hmm. you know, and that was very powerful in the way that you showed us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And like the great Jim Rohn, one of my mentors, he would always teach that you can learn so much. You can either learn through mistakes or you can learn through mentors. But when you learn through experiences, it starts to stick. So you can learn through maybe a song, the lyrics of a song. You can learn through somebody's story, through a movie, or through a book, or through somebody else. But you can always learn. So I always looked at it as a teaching experience. It just wasn't a night to, like most people, oh, let's have movie night. Okay, that's great. When I would watch a movie first, I really never watched it to, like the first time with everybody. I would always view it first, and I would get like 3 to 5 key points that I said, how could this impact your life? And that's what I would do. So we would have like, 20, 30, 40, 50 people. It was crazy, that would come over to the house, and we would put the big movie, 200-inch screen, and everyone's like, okay, here we go. Because afterwards, pay attention, we're going to discuss this and see how this applies to your life. And like you're talking about the Men of Honor, it's like, dude, that dude went through heck. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie. I recommend it. It's huge. We talked about the Karate Kid, learning from a mentor to a student, and putting that trust and putting those faith exercises into play. Things that I would teach you guys, and I knew it would benefit you because I knew it benefit me. I had to go through some learning myself. I had to build my self-confidence up. I had to build my self-esteem up. Why? Because I knew if I didn't, I'm going to say I wish I had, and I didn't want to be that individual. And I said, dude, I want to be the dude that said, I'm glad I did. And that's why it instilled it in many of you guys. And dude, that's why I'm super proud of you, bro. So I see what you're doing.
Man.
We're going to get more in that in a second. So what do you think during that time? What were some of your biggest failures, or any time in your life that you learned a lesson from?
Was when my mind told me that it was too hard and that I should stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then that brought me back to the teachings that you taught me when we had our breakthrough. I guess I wouldn't call it a seminar, but a workshop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I remember was it was deep, emotional, strong, passionate, and motivational. So I remember that all the fears that you would have, you would write it on this board that was about this thick, and you write it on the back of it, and then we'd go through some exercises, and then our goal was to basically face those fears on that board and use the mind to break through that thick board. And what really got to me was before it all started, this was all volunteer based. You said, hey, who wants to go first? And, no one moved, and then all of a sudden you said, the last person that goes has the most burden and fear. And I'm not going to go into details about that individual and their issues, but it was very powerful and very strong, and it was very motivational and inspired me because that individual was able to push through and break through that board, just like everyone else did.
Yeah.
To do the impossible. And this was a thick board,
Yeah. 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 'Cause I didn't know what size boards to get, so when I went to Home Depot, I just like, that's a thick one, that'll work, because I have no idea. But I knew that what the exercise was going to enable. And what Martin's talking about is we used to have people do what's called breakthroughs. And he's talking about an individual, and of course we're not going to mention any names here, but she had such an immense breakthrough, it really catapulted her life. She put all her fears, all her doubts, all her past history, being raped, and I said, hey, who would you become if you were able to shatter that? And that's who you're going to break through to the other side. So they would flip this thick board down. It was probably like, a foot by foot long. And basically when everybody broke it, it broke in half. And you remember, Martin, when she broke it, she shattered it, and it looked like an explosion. That board just went into multiple pieces. She broke down in tears, and just like, wow. It was just...
Yeah, I'm just getting tingling feelings because it's going back to that memory was just extremely powerful.
Yeah.
It's very emotional for all of us, And,
yeah, and it changed so many people's lives. I've seen through it. I've seen so many people. Obviously, a lot of us went our separate ways because that company went out of business. But I just see so many success stories that came from all those exercises. I was talking to my intern yesterday about some of these experiences and just recalling some of these memories. I kind of broke down in tears because that journey, it plays true to every single person. It's what I like to call defining moments. And for me, that was a defining moment. For you, for many people, for Mike, and I mean, we had so many people, and I used to do that quite often. But I think that was one of the last ones I did because that was the closure of that company. I said, dude, we've got to break through this. So it was very, very inspiring. So, and I have something new that I'm gonna be starting. So I'll explain it. Remind me if you do at the end on my
Okay.
next level leap to faith, dude. It's freaking sick. I'm so excited. So yeah. So tell me about, okay, so you had some of these challenges. What were some resources that you actually had that helped you along the way?
Like, we're back then or now?
All the above, anything. Yeah, anything.
Well, I really hated to read, but you introduced me to Robert Kawasaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I read. I read those books, and then once I started reading those books, I understood that the type of books I like to read is about like motivational leadership, how to become a better leader, and how to just face your fears, right? So, and those are the only books I really read. So, when I got older, starting to lose weight and started about 2018, I was stuck at a roadblock emotionally and mentally, and I decided that let's go back to basics. What do I already know? I know that I need motivation, and how did I know that? Was through reading books. And at that time, who was really big was David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me, his book.
Yeah.
And that was the book that actually really helped me take that shot to the moon and get that motivation, and it's still going today because of that book. Of course, I moonlighted it with other motivational books too, but I followed the whole routine that David Goggins put out in his book, and that's the reason why I am.
Nice.
Why I am the way I am today.
So for the audience, how did you transition? So okay, so we went from EMS, then you went to the fire department. How did you transition? What was that defining moment that said, "Hey, I got to learn how to do the tactical self-defense stuff"? What was that thought process?
So so I became an EMT, and at first when you go, just to tell the audience, you don't get, it's not like the movies. You don't jump into 911 and run those calls that you see on TV. You actually work in a mom and pop's place, and you work just doing basic transport in and out of hospitals, bringing patients from the hospital to the home or from the home to an appointment. And you do that you for a couple of years, you get the experience, then you finally get introduced to the 911 system. Granted that they're hiring, and it was during the time where we're having that kind of like the depression in 2009. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
So jobs are really hard to find. Luckily, I was able to get one, and then when I got into the field, I noticed that some calls that we go to, you're by yourself, meaning that there's no fire, there's no police, there's no fire trucks, it's just the ambulance. And sometimes you're in the most sketchy neighborhood in town. So potentially you can get assaulted, you can get attacked. I've had coworkers who've had knives and guns pull out on them, and you're also dealing with patients who are mentally unstable just due to having mental issues or just being drug induced. Mm-hmm. So when I got attacked, and knowing that everyone else gets attacked in the field too, I was like, hey, you need to learn how to defend yourself, and they don't teach you that in school. And also, there are patients who are mentally unstable that we call 5150. It's just a code that we have to basically bring them to the hospital, and they're on 72 hours lockdown just due to their mental health, because they basically can't take care of themselves, and they're a threat to themselves and others. So we have to be able to go in and basically cuff them down to the backboard and do that safely. And we don't really get a big in-service on that. So I was like, hey, man, I need to learn self-defense in a way where I can protect myself and my partner if there's no one else around. So that's what really jump-started my career in self-defense.
What were some kind of the things? Because, I mean, you hear that in most fields. I mean, I was watching on the news, and I don't watch the news, but it was a few years ago, I forgot, maybe 6 years ago, and there was a trampling at a Walmart during Black Friday. Dude, you got to protect yourself no matter where you're at. It's like, yeah, I understand these people are like, oh my God, I got to get the best deal. Let me go and run you over so I can save $100 on a TV. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm just saying, But I think that that's important to learn self-defense, what, some type of self-defense, because you never know. You just never know.
Exactly.
There's craziness, but especially you have yourself, you have your families, loved ones, but yeah, just definitely be able to protect yourself. So yeah. So what is it exactly? Let's talk about the tough. Okay, tell me more. What the heck is tough, and how did you start that, and more about it.
So tough, obviously stands for train until forever. And initially, I just started that. The way I found out about it, I was just trying to think of one words that just sound cool, and I was just trying to replace it with different letters, just like being tough sounds like you're tough. But then if I just instead of spelling out as TOUGH, what if I just put TUF, tough? Oh, and then what can I find that makes sense? Oh, train. I train TU until forever. Sure, let's roll with that. So it just came out of nowhere, right?
Right.
But I initially did that because I wanted to put accountability for myself on social media. And I actually, when you knew me, I was actually very, very skinny. I was probably like 140 soaking wet.
Right.
And then eventually throughout, the decades, I actually gained a lot of weight. And I got to the point where I was about 242 at my biggest. And I just knew that was enough. I got into the fire department, lost a little bit of weight while in the academy, but even then I struggled through it. And then once I got probation, I was like, forget it, I'm here forever. I can do whatever I want. And that's where I think about 2017 or 18, I forgot, is where I got the biggest. And then I realized I couldn't move differently. When I was training martial arts, it's like people wouldn't take me seriously because like this guy is so overweight, he can't move. And the minute he starts moving, he's out of breath. And I just, that clicked to me, and I'm unhealthy and I'm unhappy. I was like, I got to change. So then I made this logo, and I was like, I'm going to put myself on the internet and just show my progress. And that way, if I stop, people are like, hey man, what's going on? You're on a roll, So it kept me accountable. And long story short, I eventually lost 42 pounds in 12 weeks, documented it through on social media. Nice. And people were very interested in how I did that. And what tough became, instead of just like for me keeping myself accountable, it was to inspire others, to help them. And it doesn't mean like, hey, I want to lose weight. It's whatever goal that it is. If you're an actor, you're soon to be an actor, or you're a musician, people say you can't do it, and people said I couldn't do it. And it's one quote that you taught me that's stayed with me is the greatest revenge is with massive success.
Yeah,
and I live by that, and I still do live by that. And that's what I try to inspire others. Like, you don't have to be like me. You don't have to lose weight. You don't have to be a self-defense instructor or learn that. Just have passion in what you do every single day. Whether it's, like I said, being a musician or an actor or a cook or anything, or you want to be a student or a scholar, just put your mind to it. When people say that you can't do it, that's incorrect. That is absolutely incorrect. You can do anything if you put your mind to it, and you've proven that. And you've helped me get to where I'm at today.
Nice, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And what is it, the actual style, or is there a certain type of style that you're doing? Or I'm trying to.
Oh, good question. Good question. So what I teach is a system called Martial Blade Concepts. It's a system developed by our chief instructor, Michael Janich, who is, if you get a chance, he has a long bio. I would just Google him, everybody. Just Google Michael Janich. But what he teaches is basically we take proven tactics, theories, and concepts from the Filipino martial arts, and that's where basically knife tactics came from. So we take the proven tactics from the Filipino martial arts, and we just put it into self-defense in the modern context. So it focuses a lot on human anatomy and physiology, and having a huge emphasis on legality. So what does that mean? So traditional Filipino martial arts, what they teach is an attack would come with a knife, you would parry it, you'd hook it around, you'd strip the knife, and then you cut him in the neck. So in a self-defense context, once you disarm that knife, the threat is over unless you feared that you're still in fear for your life or grievously bodily harm, or if that individual had a secondary weapon. But in that case, if they didn't and you cut their neck, what happened is you just went from self-defense, you got the knife, the threat is over, and by self-defense law, that's it. If the threat is neutralized, you can't continue to go and cut in the neck or trying to stab someone, because then that goes from self-defense to an assault to a deadly weapon, and then to murder, and then you're in jail. But you practice this all the time, and it becomes second nature. You ask yourself, when you pull that technique off in real life, you might go to jail. So how is it different? Back in the warfare days, when the Philippines were fighting, those concepts and contexts were legit. Like, you could pull that off because you're in battle. You're fighting for your life. It's war. Mm-hmm. But in a modern day self-defense, you can't do that because that'll get you in trouble. So basically, it's, in a nutshell, martial blade concepts empowers average individuals with usable life-saving techniques as quickly and efficiently as possible using an everyday carry knife, like a pocket knife.
Nice.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. So I think that'll be interesting for even our viewers. Just different ways of self-defense. I know there's like for instance, there's just it's crazy in the world at times. I know there was just a big massive shooting
exactly
in Colorado like a couple days ago. But yeah, it's just so how to protect yourself, how to protect your family. And it's not so much that you're living in fear, it's just in case it comes. That's why people have insurance. It's like, hey, if there is a situation, I know how to handle it. So yeah. No, that's awesome, brother. That's awesome.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So when someone is looking to get into like let's say the fire department, or let's say they're wanting to learn how to do, tactical self-defense, what are some important steps that someone should take to move forward with something like that?
So let's talk about the fire department first.
Right.
It's something that you need experience in, either if you're trying to get on the medical side or the suppression side, mm-hmm. or both. So the suppression side is basically going in and fighting the fire. But a lot of people don't understand that the fire department also deal with medical issues, right? Mm-hmm. So you have to first have a passion, knowing that you want to fight fire or be in the medical field, and go to school for it. Then when you do get your certification, you have to understand that you won't get picked up right away, unless it's like winning the lottery, because there's a chance that you can apply to the fire department and you just get picked up right away just because they literally just like, all right, we're going to point to that name, they're hired. That's very lucky, but realistically, it took me 6 years to get to the fire department. Multiple times of failing the test, then retrying and doing it again. It's not giving up. You can't give up when you fail, because you will fail.
Right.
And that's part of life.
So one thing is, I was thinking, because when you're going through not only that process, but when you're actually in it, how do you get that mental or that intestinal fortitude? Because a lot of people, what they don't understand is what you guys see is you guys do see death. You guys do see death from adults. You guys do see death from infants. You guys do see, I mean, you're surrounded by it. How do you get comfortable being uncomfortable? And I think this could be a validation for any field that anyone goes in.
So everyone deals with stress, in different ways. But the real answer is, how do you deal with it? By talking to a therapist. Because I've been doing this for over 10 years.
Right.
And at first, you see the deaths, you see the infants die, you see normal people die, and that's not normal, right? But it becomes normal for the people in my field.
Exactly.
But to the mind, it's abnormal.
Right.
Because maybe we're trained that way. We're throughout life in America, that's how we're trained. But in different countries, people see death all the time, and it's like normal for them, right?
Right.
So the trauma that we take, that I see in the field, it takes a toll eventually, and you don't know it when it affects you. Until someone else says, "Hey, dude, you're a little weird lately. So, like, you're not sleeping well. You're like, every time you hear like a car backfire, you're really antsy. Like, that's not normal, bro." And then I'm like, "Oh wow, okay, that makes sense."
Yeah.
And you just got to talk. You have to talk to people. You can't bottle it in.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have that issue with just bottling in, because that's like the manly thing to do.
And I know what I mean? Yeah, and I think that's good in any field, because like I know a lot of people that are in sales. They're not in the fire department. They get anxiety. They get stressed. They get hung up on. They get, they think they're going to have a big deal, that they're going to get this big commission that's going to help maybe make their house payment, and then the deal goes sour. And it's like, oh, shoot. another week with no eating if they're just starting off. So I think that's good is just to be open. Say, hey, listen, how can I adjust my mind? But at the same time, how can I adjust my feelings so I don't have that emotional attachment that drags me down for the rest of my life? So I think it's an interpretation of growth. You're always going to have growth that's going on.
And another way to deal with it is to, one, not bring work home with you, which I was able to do, and two, find a passion for something.
Right. That's
where I started training until forever, and my passion into self-defense tactics.
Right.
So you asked me about how people should go about taking self-defense, and you understand self-defense starts with self, right? Self-defense, self. So you have to understand what your body is and what you're capable of doing. So a lot of people normally ask me, like, "Hey, Marty, I'm not as strong with you. I can't move like you. I'm like a 4'11" female. I can't go against a guy that's 6'7" that's trying to attack me," which is a real life scenario situation, right? So then I tell them, like, "Hey, man, you don't have to." And this is a saying that Mike Janich always tells us, is like, you don't have to fight like me. You just have to fight well. And what does fighting well mean? Like, okay, I can take out these knife tactics and or empty hand skills and to be able to disable someone that's bigger than me, break distance, create safety. But for someone who's 4'11", it's a different mindset. So we have to fight differently. So instead of like, oh, I can't grab on the guy's arm because he's so big, he might just throw me around like a rag doll. Let's use some different tactics, right? So that's where I teach awareness, avoidance, de-escalation, and boundary setting. And the best defense is awareness and avoidance. So instead of walking on the street holding your purse, looking at a cell phone, pay attention. If you're carrying a purse, holding in your non-dominant hand, in case something happens, you have your dominant hand to push someone away. Carry some type of weapon, either a flashlight or an everyday carry knife, or just your keys in your hand so you can use something versus just hitting them with your palm. Because if you're 4'11" and you make contact with someone who's 6'7", I don't think that's really going to cause any pain. And especially if you don't have that mindset. Because the average people who I want to teach, they don't want that confrontation, and if that confrontation did happen, they might either have that fight or flight, that portion where the brain just tells them to freeze up, right? So we don't want them to do that, and the best way to do that is be able to notice your surroundings. Just take your tactics and improve it by what you do every single day. Like if you walk to your car and you're by yourself at nighttime, don't take your car alarm and your car keys and just unlock your car from a distance, because if there's someone that's trying to attack you, they'll know that's your car and they're going to run that way and try to attack you there. Another way is if you're walking into a dark lit parking lot, you have a flashlight. All it takes is just flashing your flashlight around just to look around that everything is clear. And what that does, and what that tells your attacker, is like, oh my God, someone's paying attention. That's not going to be an easy target. I'm not going to go after them. So that is another way of fighting, just being aware of your surroundings and avoiding. Simple tactics.
Nice.
That doesn't require muscle strength and skills, but skills of the mind.
Yeah, no, this is good stuff, Martin. So I was thinking even maybe later on, maybe when it starts to warm up, we can even do another podcast, but we could actually go through like a little demonstration, because I know there's different trainings throughout everywhere, but kind of show the people some real life scenarios on how these things are, because just those couple of key things. Hey, don't unlock your lock if you're down the street getting grocery stores at night because you got to get food, or just a quick little flashlight. I mean, just little things like that. I mean, the average person, I think will be huge asset to them. So there is do you ever heard of like the Outdoor channel? Yeah, of course.
So on that Outdoor channel, there is a specifically TV show called The Best Defense, and it's gone 11 seasons long, and Michael Janich, my chief instructor, is actually a subject matter expert and the co-host of that show. And all that show talks about are scenarios that are real life. Like there was one, he talked about the knockout game. If you get attacked on an airline, if there was a shootout at a theater, or home break-ins, he takes those scenarios and gives you the tactics that you need to protect yourself without really having that much training. Because, like I said, tactics, right?
Totally.
It's exactly. So it's on Amazon. If you just look in the best defense, it has the whole 11 seasons there, and it's something I definitely to tell your viewers to check out.
Yeah, awesome. Best Defense on Amazon.
Via the Outdoor Channel.
Nice. Outdoor. Cool, brother. No, man, this is definitely it's been fun, brother. And what are a couple pieces of advice you can give the audience if they're pursuing something in life or they're going after a goal or dream? Because I want to extract some gold nuggets from your brain that maybe can make a difference in somebody else's life.
So, what I can give you all is what I tell everybody. It is discipline, and it starts from getting that mind right and the mindset to want that change and having a why. And the why can't be like, oh, I just want to lose weight, or, oh, man, I want to do this because it'll make me feel better. No, it has to be something strong, something deep that every time when you're struggling and you don't want to get up, you don't want to lose weight, you don't want to study, you don't want to play that instrument, you think back to that why, and it should instantly motivate you to get up and change your mindset. You know, and there's another quote that I still live by that I read. I forgot who it's by, but there are many battles that we fight in life, but when it counts, the battle is won or lost in our minds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's powerful.
Yeah, totally, brother. Totally. So,
and creating that discipline is the road to that. It's hard, but it can start very easily. So I would recommend is write down a list of household things that you hate to do. For me, I hate folding laundry. I hate cleaning the bathroom, and I don't do that. You know, and when you feel that you're the least, when you're at your peak of being tired, I don't know what it is. Maybe you come home from work and you feel like crap. Just do it. Just go and just clean the bathroom really fast and just get in that mindset. And because the mind wants to protect you, you know, it knows that when you're tired, it wants to make you feel lazy, but we can control that. And that's the difference between successful people and not successful people is what they do with their time. You know, we're all given 24 hours, no matter race, religion, ethnicity, whatever. We're all given the same time, right? The millionaire and the beggar, they both have 24 hours. So what you do in your time is very important. So starting that discipline starts from just doing something that you hate, and then eventually your mindset will click. And when you feel that you're tired, you want to do things, since you've already trained that part to do something that's uncomfortable, you start doing things that is uncomfortable, that makes you comfortable. So what happened to me is I know that I've been working out. I work out at least 5 times a week. I think it's been a long time since I've maybe about 3 years, where I haven't been able to work out consistently for 5 days. And I know that the times when I wake up and I feel like crap and I feel groggy and lazy, I know that if I just work out, I'll feel a lot better. And that's the cue for me to get up and, hey, go for a jog. And it sounds weird, but if you just go through the process of making yourself uncomfortable, when you're uncomfortable, you will see the progress. I guarantee you.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. Yeah, it's amazing when you can actually just, it almost becomes routine at that point, just like breathing in and out, you know, where you unconsciously don't even have to think about it anymore. Okay, it's got to get done. So, yeah, that's actually the art of achievement too. So, very cool, brother. So we're going to be wrapping up here, man. But I do have, first of all, thanks, brother, for everything that you shared with everyone. I know they're going to get tremendous value. But what I'm going to do is go ahead. I'm sorry.
An honor, brother. It's this has been great, and I really appreciate you. I've known you for so long, and I've seen you grow too as an individual, and you're still inspirational, man. It's like you can capture any audience, and that's one thing I wish I can do as well as you, but it's still something I'm working on.
Oh well, you're there, brother. One thing I noticed, I was like, man, you don't stutter anymore.
I do remember that. I still do from time to time.
But that's all, folks. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you what's called rapid fire questions, and in this segment, What I'm going to do is I want you to think of the first thing that pops in your mind. It doesn't have to be anything other than what pops in your mind. Just first thought that you have when you resonate with this word. So, are you ready?
Okay. Conceived ready.
All right. There you go. You good student. Let's go with sales.
Money.
Yeah, okay. Personal development.
Discipline.
Win.
Passion.
Lose.
Mindset.
Victory.
Determination.
Defeat.
One word?
One word.
Defeat. Trying.
Love.
Compassion.
Food. That hit a soft spot. Go ahead.
Healthy.
Health. Okay. Rejection.
Learning.
Financing.
Studying.
Work ethic.
Commitment.
Energy.
Will.
Routine.
Discipline.
Health.
Training.
Spirituality.
Meditation.
And journaling.
Mindset.
Mindset. Nice. So Martin, those are our rapid questions, man. And how important, actually, just as we're wrapping up here, because I still teach it to this day. I know I taught you that when you were 19 years old. Journaling is important. And I know I do a little bit different today, but do you still keep a journal and stuff, or have you...
Actually, I do.
You do?
And
Okay.
It's actually right behind me.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no, it's actually right in front of me. Sorry. Get out right here. So
Okay.
I've started this journaling. It's about this thick.
Okay, that's...
And,
guys, I didn't plan this, but just letting you know. Okay, but go ahead.
So it started in 2016.
Okay.
And I've been able to fill it from front to back, and I just recently finished it. And as you can see, it's all filled out.
Oh wow!
And
bring it closer to the camera and do that again.
Okay. Sorry, let me open it up right quick. Sorry, I apologize. So here it is, and it literally is filled out from front to back.
Holy smokes, that's awesome, dude.
and you've noticed that there's also pictures in there.
Yeah.
You saw quick pictures, and those are, and I don't write every single day. Mostly every other day or maybe once a week, but I only journal things that I remember from training or something inspirational that I wrote, and I'll put in an entry of that day and things that I've accomplished, the goals that I've set. And the goal of a journal is for me at least, is for you to be able to eventually go back and read through it and find the things that motivate you and help you accomplish the goals that you did back in those days, so you can use that as motivation to conquer your next goals. Mm-hmm. And I read this journal at least once a week, for quotes, for reading through tough times that I had and how I accomplished it and how I did it. And that's basically it, man. And the journal that you choose, it needs to speak to you. It can't be like, oh, let's just go buy something off Amazon. You need to look at it, hold on to it, feel it, know that this is, you're like what you told me, like this is your baby. Yeah. You know, like if anyone stole my journal, it would be the roughest day of my life.
Yeah.
That is literally my Bible.
That's so funny you remember that, because I still teach that to this day, years and years and years later. And you know, you feed your dreams just like you would treat your dreams like your babies. You stop feeding your babies,
exactly.
What happens? They're no longer here. You stop feeding your dreams, what happens? They're no longer there. So that's awesome. Well, thanks, brother. You know, let's go ahead and wrap this up. And if somebody or some of the listeners want to actually find you online, how can they actually find you or get a hold of you?
I'm pretty much everywhere on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the Tickety Talk, and it's just Train Until Forever.
Okay.
If you want to go to the website, it's as spelled, trainuntilforever.com. if you want to know more about what I teach with Martial Blade Concepts, you can go to martialbladeconcepts.com, and all the information that you need are there. So
nice, and
that's
I'll get all your information. So if you guys want to reach out to Martin, definitely do so. He's definitely will bring value to your life and your family's life. I'll put all his information in the description below, so we'll be able to connect you guys that way. So awesome. And then let me just go ahead and do a real quick reflect of some key points that I brought out. Number one, we talked about is the most important key point that can change your life and destination is breaking out of your comfort zone. That was huge. If it wasn't for people breaking out of your comfort zone, you and I wouldn't be here speaking right now. Number
Absolutely.
two is obviously learn from your experiences and then share those in the form of leadership. Number three, you're talking about the best defense on Amazon, and it was part of the outdoor series or portion.
It's an outdoor channel.
Outdoor channel, okay. And then the last one was journaling and keeping a journal, reflecting the journal, looking back at the journal, and feed your freaking dreams. So yeah, man. Awesome. Well, thank you, brother. I really appreciate you coming on, man. I love you, man. And I definitely want to see you continue to do what you're doing because I know you're having a huge impact on everyone that gets surrounded by you, that gets blessed with your surroundings. So thank you, brother, for being on Mind the Mind, man.
Thank you, Brandy. It was an honor to be here again, man. I appreciate you and everything that you've done for me since I was a kid up to as an adult. So you're still one of my mentors, one of my original mentors. And thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I can't wait to go to San Francisco again, man. We'll go get some grub.
Absolutely.
I'll come to San Diego. So, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. This is another amazing episode of Mind the Mind. I know you're going to get some tremendous value from it. Go back, watch it again, take some notes so that it can assist you guys in a major way. So until next time, guys, keep rocking, keep loving life, and enjoying everything that comes your way with grace and passion. So until next time, God bless, because you freaking rock. Take care.
Thank you, everybody. Stay safe.